Nope.
Good start.
Wasn't ready. All right, good start. All right, I'd like to call the Public Works and Protection Committee meeting for February 6th to order, please. Roll call.
Jay Krieger,
Here.
John Burnett,
Here.
Joan Euclid. Here. Kelly Service is excused. And I'm not sure if Gary's coming or not. Okay.
All right, pledge of allegiance.
Oh, yeah, just got on.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Don't know of any changes to the agenda. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Action on the minutes. Any changes, any corrections?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Comments from the public must be something that is not on the agenda. And we cannot act on it this evening. Any comments from the public for items that are not on the agenda? Any comments from the public for items that are not on the agenda? And one more time. Comments from the public that are not on agenda. Okay, if there are none, we'll move on to action items. Consider act on the appeal of denied operator's license for Ashley Karl. Patrick.
Thanks, Jay. So, Ms. Karl applied for operator's license in the village and was denied based on a felony conviction that's substantially related to the licensing activity. Based on the policy that the board adopted, Ms. Karl does have an appeal right to show that she has rehabilitated or shown mitigating circumstances since the conviction and what has been done since then. Staff and myself, we have reviewed the felony conviction, the circumstances which kind of took place around it. In my opinion, coming from the Legal Services Department, I would recommend to the committee tonight that they do approve Ms. Karl's operator's license. I think that she's an excellent candidate of what can be shown that has been done since a conviction, the time that has taken place since then, and what a person can really do despite having a conviction on a record. Looking, and not harping on the facts of the case by any means, looking at the conviction, it is a lower level felony conviction. It was a Class I conviction in January of 2011. Ms. Karl was placed on probation for 3 years, but was early discharged from probation in December of 2012. Just my experience coming from as a former assistant DA, it is pretty rare to see that quick of an early discharge from probation. Normally, there would be a recommendation from a probation agent to the court, and the only one to release someone from probation is obviously the court. So having a recommendation from the agent to the court saying it's an early discharge really speaks highly of, I think, in my opinion, without knowing Ms. Karl well, I think just shows highly of how successful she was on probation and the low-level risk that she showed at the time. Since then, Ms. Karl hasn't picked up any additional criminal charges, arrests, pending matters, or any further convictions. From speaking with her, my understanding is there's been consistent employment since her conviction in 2011. Based on the time it's been, 13 plus years since the conviction, the mitigating circumstances, and certainly the rehabilitation it's been since the conviction, I would recommend that the committee recommend approval to the village board for her operator's license. Despite her having that felony conviction, there is discretion with the committee that the license can be approved.
Okay.
And Ms. Karl is in court today if you'd like to speak with her or like to hear from her.
Okay. Ms. Karl, do you want to step forward?
Sure.
And speak? I think I need to make a motion to open the floor to her.
You want me just to sit right here?
So moved.
So moved. And a
Second.
And Ms. Karl, if I may, before on the cover sheet, there was a mention of an expungement and versus a pardon. looking at Ms. Karl's record, her record is expunged, which means that the felony conviction no longer exists in the Wisconsin court records. However, that does not negate the fact that there was a felony conviction. There still is a conviction technically, but the record is just expunged. So this is why she's coming through this process, besides it being expunged from her Wisconsin record.
Okay. Ms. Karl, why don't you just kind of tell us about yourself, what you're planning on doing with the license, and where your job is taking you at this point in time, and kind of where you came from, where you are today.
Okay. Whoa, I'm really loud, sorry. Since this has all happened, I have achieved a real estate license in the state of Wisconsin. I have another bartending license with a different municipality, which is Swamico. And it's just like bartending is a really nice, steady income because real estate's so sporadic. I can't count on it to keep myself afloat all the time because it's all dependent on how many houses you can sell. So it's just nice to be able to have the bartending under my belt. So if I do need to make the extra income to afford my house, get all my stuff, all my bills paid, all that good stuff, I can do that. I'm the only person in my household, so not having an income really kind of sucks. I have maintained jobs throughout the last 10 years. I hold 2 jobs usually at once because I like to have a little bit of spice in life. So that's kind of how that one works. I pay all my taxes. I am able to vote. I have a passport. I can leave the country. I've been through gun safety. I can own a gun. I just don't really plan on doing anything with this license but working. So I was just really hoping that you guys would grant this for me.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any further questions? Further questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the operator's license for Ashley Karl.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Thank you.
So this item will go to village board so with this recommendation, this will go to village board, which is the 4th Tuesday of February. Correct. Yep.
You're all set. 7, there we go. 7B, consider, discuss, act on Class A liquor license request for the Oneida Nation.
I can
Joe,
take
you
this
got that one? Okay.
Yep, I can take this one. This is a request for a Class A liquor license. So again, Class A meaning it would be for a sale for away consumption. This is for the Oneida Nation at their Oneida One-Stop Convenience Store located at 3120 Packerland Drive. They have submitted their application. All paperwork and corresponding fees have been paid. Public Safety has reviewed the request and any representatives on the application and has indicated that there are no concerns from Public Safety's point of view. I believe an individual from the Oneida Nation is on the call remotely and is able to speak on this matter. I will note that the village, although we cannot restrict the ability for individuals to apply for a Class A license at a convenience store, the village has had a history of not granting Class A intoxicating liquor licenses to convenience stores. So with that, I'll entertain any questions, or if you have questions for the operator, he is on the call virtually.
Question I would have, Joel, is how many other convenience stores, do we have just a rough number of how many there are in the village? I mean, I know it's a big number.
I would say certainly over a dozen. So we do have and I don't know this number off the top of my head, maybe Patrick knows, but we do have a self-imposed quota as well for Class A intoxicating liquor licenses. I do not believe we would have sufficient licenses within our self-imposed quota to be able to issue one to each convenience store.
Right, agreed.
This has become in front of us a number of times on convenience stores. we did not allow this type of license to any convenience store. So I just want to make that point.
Does anybody else have any other?
There's no other questions.
Go
If
ahead.
there's no other questions, I'll move to deny the liquor license.
Real quick, Gary, Jay, just to answer your question, I think you asked about the quota. There's 16.
16?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Gary has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second? Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The liquor license is, Class A liquor license is denied. It will go to village board then at the end of the month. Okay, 7C, consider, discuss action of two-phased implementation of a sanitary sewer rate increase. Brian?
All right, so I'll touch on this one.
There we go. All right, let's try this again. So as you can see in your packet, we're proposing a two-phase sanitary rate increase due to the fact that over the course of the past 2 years, our operating expenditures are exceeding our revenues. And one of the primary reasons for that is we do not treat our own sanitary waste here within the village of Ashwaubenon. Our waste does go to Green Bay Sanitary District on the north side of Green Bay and does get treated at that facility. At that point in time, we do get invoiced back for treatment charges. In 2023, there was a 4.9% increase in charges from them, and they're projecting a 6.2% increase in 2024. So with that being said, in order to ensure that our revenues are in line with our expenditures, we're proposing a two-phase rate increase. And with the two phases, the first phase would be implemented April 1st of this year, which would include a 6.5% increase. And then the second phase would be implemented in October of this year, which would be a 3.5% increase. Our sanitary sewer district is not regulated by the PSC, so we are allowed through state statutes to implement our own rate increases as needed.
All right.
I will also add to Brian's
Brian?
comments that the rate increase that is being proposed was incorporated in the 2024 fiscal year budget. So it is anticipated that this rate would be approved in order to accommodate the revenues necessary to meet operating expenditures.
That was, you saw I had the book, that's why you were gonna ask, right? Because that's what I was questioning, is that actually in the budget?
It is, yeah. We had proposed with the hopes that it would be approved. Unfortunately, over the course of the past couple of years, we've been drawing from our reserve to kind of supplement our operational costs, and
Right.
it's not a good practice to be in, especially knowing that potentially in 2027, we'll be starting to work on our capital improvement plan. So we'll kind of need those reserves as we start to reconstruct some of our older segments of roadway.
So what's driving it? Is it Green Bay's rates are going up, or what's?
That's the primary drive.
Okay.
Correct. You know, our you know, has increased. I know monthly it's approximately 20,000 every month just that we're seeing from Green Bay. So you put 20,000 over, you know, over the 12 months, it's, you know, almost $250,000.
Yeah.
So
I do personally know some people who are struggling with the increases that have been happening because they've been happening fairly frequently. And if you look back just 2-3 years ago, what the rates were and what they are now, those people that are on fixed incomes and or in lower income homes are beginning to struggle with paying the sewer and water bills. So I would just like to request that there be some pushback to Green Bay. I mean, we want this to be a net zero. Absolutely. That's our goal here. And I get that we got to do this to make it be a net zero, but we got to be doing something to try to make it not, you know, it seems to me right now we're on a real upward trend, a real curve going up. and it's a pretty steep one. Sure would like to see that flatten out a little bit. We get costs are going up all over the place, but, sure would like to see that flatten out, and I'd like to see some pushback to the Green Bay, water utility, on that. I don't know, anybody else have any further questions?
What size meter do we have in the normal home here? Because they're all on the service charge list, they're all different size meters.
Yeah, so, the meters in most houses are 5/8, which is that 0.625.
Okay,
That would be your standard house.
okay.
But of course, you know, some houses do have larger meters, depending if they have an irrigation system or a pool, but a standard house would be that 0.625.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other discussion or questions? If not, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll move that we pass this on to the village board for implementation of the sanitary sewer rate increases.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, items for the next agenda. Don't, Patrick, you got any idea? There'll be any items? Not at this point, huh? All right. Then I'll have a
There
motion.
will likely be one. I think we have a referral back to committee on the changes to the alcohol licensing chapter within our municipal code on.
Oh, okay.
Hours,
Yep,
closing and opening hours. That's the
Very
only thing I can think of right now.
perfect. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, everyone.